We are live from Conrads here in Liberty, Missouri for Cardinals at Conrads. I've got Coach Chris McCabe, men's basketball coach for William Jewell College. Coach, how you doing?
Good, Chase. Thank you.
So you get Mason Alexander back. He's a 1,000 point scorer, top 25 all-time games played. How valuable is that experience for this team?
It's invaluable. When we got going at the end of the year last year, one of the main reasons was how well he was playing, how well he was assisting. His assist turnover ratio was phenomenal. His ability to score, you mentioned his total points, but then where he is on the 3-point chart continues to climb. But he's also just a great leader. And he's a leader because he wants to win, he wants to compete, but he's a leader because his teammates, his peers, follow him. They respect him. He's verbal at practice. He's always engaged. He's always leading by example with his work. And now he's getting more verbal. Players are following him, and we notice and can feel Mason when he's on the floor, and it's a really good thing for us. And I think it's part of why maybe people are excited. We're excited is because you've got experience coming back, and not just experience in time, but in accomplishment with him. And we talk about fifth year with him, Robbie, Harry, and then you talk about some other seniors. I'm sure you'll get to them, but you talk about having Trey and Kobe and those guys, Javon, that've been here and seen it. That goes a long way.
Jordan Germain, all GLVC as a sophomore. It's safe to say is no longer a secret in the GLVC. What are your expectations for Jordan, and how does he play a role on this team?
Jordan has an ability to score. He's tall enough to be able to shoot it over most who are guarding him at kind of the two in our league, and so where he came on early was his ability to shoot. Then he started to be able to put it on the ground a little bit. He'll find a mismatch and post a mismatch, and played the other night, did a really good job off an inbounds play of using the ball fake, playing on balance. But what makes Jordan really good is his timing. So he doesn't force. He's an efficient scorer. So he's willing to give it up to get it back. He understands what angles the ball are going to come from. When he's in the paint, knows how to move, knows how to play out of ball screens, knows how he's covered and can find it. So I think his next evolution is to continue to be the same. Now we want to be more verbal, and lead by engaging the teammates and talking because he understands the game so well. His father's a coach. He's got aspirations to coach, and he'll be a good one. But if he's more verbal because he understands the right things, he sees the game, we want everybody else to see it the same way. And I think that you mentioned Mace, Jordan, and Trey, Kobe, Javon, Harry, Robbie, those guys know. They've seen it. And so the on-the-floor accomplishment is great, but then the player leadership is kind of the next level.
Yeah. So you brought in a solid freshman class, not real big. You're getting Robbie Hansen back, but the team doesn't look all that different. Has anyone or anything surprised you in this preseason?
That's a good question. I think the thing that maybe surprised us in a really positive way was how good a shape we came in at the start of the year. We conditioned them really hard right out of the chute. They were in really good shape. That stood out. But I also think it just shows how serious they are about the year because they trained all off season. They kept themselves in shape so they didn't have to get in shape. So I think the thing that maybe is surprising is I didn't have low expectations, but I thought there'd be a little bit of an adjustment once we got back together. But I'm confident that we've picked up where we left off, and hopefully we're ahead of where we should be traditionally at this time of year. But we don't want to take steps back. We got to make sure we're still going forward.
Has that changed how you coach at all?
Well, a little bit. Because I've never had a team this experienced. And so you aren't quite sure what to do. But I think that their willingness to be coached but still put in an incredible amount of work makes it where we could do things like we were on the floor for 90 minutes, but then we were up in the film room for 30, whereas usually you're on the floor for about 2.5 hours this time of year. So you want to keep their bodies and minds fresh. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a different team to coach. Every team is different. This team will be different from the experience standpoint and the expectation. But good news is we don't, we have high expectations. I think people have high expectations, but the locker room has the highest expectations, and that's what we want.
So this year we're fifth in preseason GLBC rankings, highest since joining the conference in 2011. Have you addressed the rankings and any pressure or expectations that come along with that?
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, we were curious where we were going to be. We were curious mainly because the coach had voted on it. So if it was media or wherever else, you don't know how tuned in maybe they are with the teams, with the team in the league. So when it's coaches, they pay attention. We were curious, we had ideas, but then for us to be voted where we were, I think speaks a lot to the talent and experience we've talked about. The coaches see it. We finished strong. Part of the reason we finished strong is we were finally healthy. We were healthy. We had a full complement of guys. We had a full complement of scout team guys, which we didn't have for a long stretch in January. So it's exciting to be in that spot, but then we did address it and complimented them, and we were excited about it. But then the next step is, if you think about it from where we finished last year, that would actually be lower than where we finished since we were in the conference semifinals. So I don't think that you get too caught up in it. It probably doesn't mean nothing, but it also probably doesn't mean as much as you want it to, because the teams who achieve the most at the end of the year are remembered far better. So yeah, we want to be remembered in October and early November, but the goal is to play really good basketball in February and March.
Has it motivated the team at all? Is it largely ignored? What are the...
We have a very, very aware team. A team who understands the league, who respects college basketball, who respects Division II basketball. So they know. We had a conversation with the player, and he told us where he thought we'd be picked, and broke down the teams around, and they know. I don't think that they're satisfied, but it was neat to see them in some small way, probably, for them to commit to come back, to play together, to stick with it. And each of them have their own stories, right? Like you mentioned, Nate's coming back for a fifth year. Harry transferring and staying with us. Coming as their own transfer. These other guys who maybe won't play as much when they're younger, sticking with us. They're committed to wanting to do the right stuff.
So this will be the first season since 1963 that late coach Larry Hawley won't be on the sideline or in the stands. I know Coach was proud of this team's accomplishments since he retired, but how has his absence affected this preseason, if at all?
Well, his absence affects everything about the program, because Coach is the program and is synonymous with it for so long. Fortunately, Coach Hilbrand and I were able to go spend some time a couple weeks ago with Linda, connect with her, being able to speak with the daughters fairly regularly, to just catch up, stay in the loop about how things are going on, because it was such a huge part of their lives, through their husband, through their dad for so long, that I want them to still have a connection, still have a positive association. But I see other people who have connections with Coach. Everywhere we go, we talk and introduce, we enjoy basketball, and there's a connection. So you feel it. The one thing that I think, Chase, is most significant is during his tragic passing in May, the amount of people who reached out, who showed up in their physical presence, donated their time, their energy, their emotion to the family to help and to be there. I think that was part of the legacy defined, so to speak, of Coach. Because the thing that's missed is you heard everybody talk about how great he was to them and their family, the recruiting stories. You heard him talk about the holiday tournament, the summer camps, right? You heard all those things. Oh, by the way, he won 900 games, right? In the Hall of Fame, he's done. And so when you think about it from how does it impact, well, Coach had those relational connections with so many people, that he was so gracious to me in helping me build those connections with some of those people. We've sat in this place and had lunch with some people together, and so it's it's missed because it was just a genuine relationship and friendship that we had. But I know that he'll be rooting for his Cards this year.
So the link will be a nice little upgrade from our current setup. You know, how has the excitement around this project, and if at all, made any positive impacts on the team now?
Well, the number one thing it does, Chase, is it shows the commitment and willingness of the college, of the alumni, the boosters, the giving to the college and what they believe in, right? To donate, put their money towards a program or towards a building that's going to enhance the college is significant. You're in a time where buildings are right condensing or they're changing and we're constructing. So I think that's significant both in the way people give, but then also, you know, the fact that the college is investing in it like they are. So that's exciting because athletics is important, the space is important, but then from a practicality standpoint, from the player standpoint, right, being able to get in there, have access to shoot, have access to work out, have access to sports medicine, and all those things. You don't want a player to come to William Jewell because it's shiny and there's a new facility. You want them to come for the right reasons. And I think we got lucky about that. I think we're recruiting the kind of kids who believe that's too. But it's going to help, right? And so, the program, we're confident, we're excited about the direction, the trajectory of it. We're only as good as what we do tomorrow, but we're excited about it. And this is just another feather in the cap, so to speak, about where we're going, the investment people have, and it shows the alignment between, team and department, college, and all the people who, help make it possible.
So as much as we all treat you, you're more than a basketball coach, you're a husband and a father. What were some things this summer you were able to do to get away, unplug, and spend some time with the family?
I went on vacation. And Coach Hildebrand actually told me I did a good job on vacation. So that was a great compliment. I don't know if my wife told me I did a good job on vacation. But we went on vacation. That was a blast. Funny story is I did make a scholarship offer while I was on vacation.
This is how you did a very good job.
Well, I can't say if we got the recruiting now. Right? It'd be a violation. No, it was great. We got time together. We had camps. And so what's neat about that is my daughter's of age. She wanted to come and be at the camp. But then just the pace is a little different. Right? I got to coach flag football in the spring. I'm not going to get employed any longer to be a flag football coach. It's terrible. But we had fun. So, no, life's good. We got a great support system.
So we took a fan question off Twitter. They want to know what candy you give out for Halloween.
Ooh. Well, Target's got some specials, I'm sure. It's whatever is in Target. My favorite candy, though, was Reese's peanut butter ones.
Okay.
Those are the best. Those are the best.
Well, that's tough to beat.
What's your?
Is there a shape? Why like the Christmas tree Reese's peanut butter cup? It's a good peanut butter chocolate ratio.
It's not a Halloween candy.
Yeah. Christmas is exciting.
Yeah. Right.
That's Coach McCabe. We're here live at Conrads in Liberty, Missouri for Cardinals at Conrads. Coach, thanks for being on here.
Thanks, Jay.